Before I get into this video, I just want to say that this video is fair use, so all the media used in this video is used with criticism, review in a transformative way. All the information I present is public information and everything else is alleged or joke or just my opinion. So the first thing I want to talk about is Eminem, because there was an entire thing on TikTok and it was incredibly stupid, but there was essentially what was just a rumor going around that Gen Z were trying to cancel Eminem for like a certain line in a certain song that he made, and in response to this, millennials threw a fit, including this dumbass who posted this video, which is truly something, but somebody reposted it with the caption, "Millennials turning into boomers at supersonic speed."
What? Gen Z's trying to what? Cancel Eminem. Gen Z's trying to cancel Eminem? Honey, that's cute. Listen, little kitties, let me make this quite clear. This man was around even before you were here. So what, you're all mad because the man was a lyricist while all your rappers are mumbling gibberish? No, go ahead and shut your mouth. Better yet, go and sit your ass in time out, because boy was running laps even before you could walk. Hell, boy was spitting bars even before you could talk. So no, afraid you're null and void, dear. I'm afraid your opinion don't matter here, because one day you'll grow up and see how everyone went and forgot about Z.
Miss Jackson.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
So I felt like even when I introduced the story, it sounded a bit off, because I saw what was supposed to be like the initial video of Gen Z trying to cancel Eminem. I don't remember what the verse was, but it wasn't problematic to my knowledge. All I could tell was just he was saying some random ass words, and it wasn't even about like anything. It was just words that he put together, because he does that sometimes. From the very start, like, nobody tried to cancel Eminem. But it gets even more embarrassing for them once I found this video.
Crazy.
Bitch, you make they call me Superman.
So what I find particularly hilarious about this video is this woman's actually blocked me because I suggested that she use her critical thinking skills to figure out that actually she's not being oppressed by 16-year-olds and her skinny jeans will still be in H&M in 10 years' time. It's just baffling to me that this trend has gained so much traction and no one's pointing out the obvious, which is that it's a right-wing media ploy to divide the two groups that are most likely to make social change. No one cares what music you listen to. No one's trying to take that away from you. You're being manipulated. Use your brain. I just can't believe we're honestly fighting over fashion trends in 2021. So many of those comments saying things like, oh, wait till they grow up and have to have a job and a side part. You sound like an old person complaining because they're not allowed to be racist anymore. We have so many issues that we need to approach as a united collective. Don't worry about whether or not a 16-year-old likes your fashion choices. Act like a millennial.
In conclusion, wasn't true. Even if it was, don't know why people would be so upset about it. I feel like it's somewhat similar to the Lana Del Rey situation, in which, you know, she deserved to be cancelled, but then, like, nobody cancelled her, or at least nobody that actually mattered cancelled her. Like, her fans are still very much worshipping her, like cult members, which I thought we all decided wasn't cute. We saw Jeffree Star and his fans, and we decided no. And all of a sudden, Lana Del Rey and cult goes together now. I don't know who decided that, but I'm gonna need you to stop.
Stop it right now.
The second thing that I want to talk about, I thought was going to be a lot more popular, I guess. I just thought it was going to be bigger news than it really was. Like, because I saw quite a few people that I know talk about it on Instagram, but then nobody talk about it anywhere else. But essentially, there was a video going around. I don't know if I'm allowed to show it, but I'm gonna show it anyway. But the context of the video was a group of friends were basically making fun of this Muslim girl, and then they decided to beat her up. Well, they all decided, they nominated this one person to go beat her up. So this white girl and her friends just decided it'd be super cute and quirky if they were to beat up a Muslim girl for absolutely no reason. Nobody intervened. The staff didn't care, teachers didn't care, nobody gave a fuck. If anything, people were enjoying it. There was a lot of laughter in the video. I just want to point out, when I say background noise, it's very much a prominent part of the video. It's like the entire audio. I say background noise, but I mean just the audio of the video. So people were laughing, they were having a great fucking time watching this white girl beat up a Muslim girl, and then all of a sudden, when a black girl comes in, beats up the white girl to literally save this other girl, this Muslim girl that was getting beat the fuck up for literally no reason. Zero reason. Nada. All of a sudden there's a problem. Somebody tries to intervene. I don't know if it was a staff or a student, but I'm pretty sure it was a staff because who the fuck just, Somebody tried to intervene. Everyone shifted from laughing to being shocked and horrified. So if somebody just decides to be racist and express that violently, that's perfectly fine. But as soon as somebody steps in to try and put a stop to it, then it's an issue. So the lead actress in The Queen's Gambit, Anya Taylor-Joy, recently won some sort of award, and on the website where it gives a short paragraph about her and all that, it reads, Argentinian Taylor-Joy is the first woman of color to win this category since Queen Latifah in 2008, and only the fifth woman of color to win overall since 1982, when the category was introduced. Now, I don't think it really takes the best eyesight to realize that this is not a person of color. So people were weirded out, I guess. I don't even know, is angry the right word? They were just disappointed but not surprised, I think is how I should describe it. And it turns out that she isn't going around telling people that she is a person of color. She never said that. Taylor-Joy identifies as Latina but says she's very wary of auditioning for Latina roles, saying, I'm aware of the fact I don't look like a typical Latin person and that's not fair. I don't want to be someone that you could just snub in for that role when I'm really white and blonde. And she identifies as a white Latina. I just want to know who was in charge of writing that paragraph. Who looked at this woman and said, that person is a person of color. Where? Point it out to me.
Point out the color.
This is filmed in two parts because I messed up. So the last time I talked about Texas in my video was because the snowstorm had happened and the mayor was being a moron. Now I'm talking about Texas because a lawmaker introduced a bill to allow death penalty for women who have abortions. A Republican lawmaker in Texas has introduced a bill that would allow the death penalty for women who have abortions. Today I filed HB 3362 to abolish abortions in Texas, Brian Slater said on Twitter. The bill will end the discriminatory practice of terminating the life of innocent children and will guarantee the equal protection of laws to all Texans no matter how small. Under this bill, a person who has an abortion or performs an abortion could be charged with assault or homicide, which is punishable by death. Slaton's legislation also says that certain parties may have to testify in case of death or bodily injury to an unborn child, and offers immunity to those who do. The legislation also directs the state's attorney general to direct a state agency to enforce those laws regardless of any contrary federal statute, regulation, treaty, order, or court decision. The legislation comes as GOP states seek to aggressively restrict or ban abortions in an effort to get the Supreme Court to overturn the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision. Asa Hutchinson from Arkansas signed a bill into law on Tuesday banning abortions unless it is to save the life of the mother. Some responses to this include, kinda blows the whole pro-life thing to hell. This is beyond fucked. Are the men who get us pregnant also on death row or nah? Wow, super pro-life of them. And this person who had found out about what had happened but hadn't looked into who had done it said, who wants to bet that the lawmaker trying to control women's bodies is some old dude? Brian Slayton lol. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the murder of 8 people, including 6 Asian women. They were killed in shootings at 3 different businesses in Atlanta and Acworth, Georgia on Tuesday, according to local police. A male suspect was arrested and charged with several counts of murder on Wednesday, police said. At a press conference in Atlanta on Wednesday, authorities identified the 4 victims killed in Cherokee County. The country sheriff's office revealed that the suspect did take responsibility for the shootings. And there was a clip that kind of blew up after somebody essentially just said that the reason why he did what he did was because he was having a bad day, saying, yesterday was a really bad day for him and this is what he did. A law enforcement official explains the person's decision to kill 8 people in a strange manner. Hillary Nicole responded and said, when I have a bad day, I grab some meat and binge watch a TV show, not go on a rampant racist, sexist-fueled killing spree. The white male privilege here is insane. Call it what it is, the hate crime of a psychopath. Somebody responded to Hillary saying, curious, did he call anyone a racial term? If not, how is it a hate crime? Also, how is this white or male privilege? I failed to see anything you just said, lol. To which they said, your ass back with logic of needing to say a racial slur for it to be a hate crime is beyond the bounds of any form of logic. Not only is it a hate crime for specifically targeting Asians to murder, but also femicide because he targeted women. The amount of people defending the killer, he was sexually frustrated and wanted to take it out on Asian women, I just can't. Femicide should be a hate crime. He targeted only Asians. He committed a hate crime. It is really that simple.
This is truly horrifying. 8 people dead, 6 of them Asian women. And soon we'll learn all about them and who they were in life, but all we know right now is that they are dead, and a 21-year-old white man with a gun killed them. What's been sad about this story is not just the loss of life, but all of the auxiliary things that have been happening around the story. Like, one of the first things that's been the most frustrating for me is seeing the shooter say, oh, it wasn't racism, it was sex addiction. First of all, you, man. You killed 6 Asian people. Specifically, you went there. If there's anyone who's racist, it's a mother who kills 6 Asian women. Your murders speak louder than your words. 6 Asian women were killed. And you know, in a way, what makes it even more painful is that we saw it coming. We see these things happening. People have been warning. People in the Asian community have been tweeting. They've been saying, please help us. We're getting punched in the streets. We're getting slurs written on our doors. We're getting people coming up to us just saying, thanks for COVID. Thanks for spoiling the world. Thanks. We've seen this happening. And while we're fighting for it, there are many people who've been like, oh, stop being so woke and so dramatic. Kung flu, come on, ha 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 ha. It's just a joke. Yeah, it's a joke that has come at one of the most tense times in human history. You knew that something like this could happen. If you just apply your mind, you know that it's going to happen. This guy didn't go and kill these women by mistake. It's like he knew what he was doing. And it's so frustrating to see this keep happening in America over and over again. America sees things coming. It knows something is going to happen, but it does nothing to stop it. But then is all in on saying, oh, it's so tragic. Oh, who could have predicted this tragedy? Anyone who was looking at it could. Why are people so invested in solving the symptoms instead of the cause? America does this time and time again. A country that wants to fight the symptoms and not the underlying conditions that cause those symptoms to take effect.
Racism, misogyny, gun violence, mental illness. And honestly, this incident might have been all of those things combined, because it doesn't have to be one thing on its own. America is a rich tapestry of mass shooting motivations. But whatever you do, please don't tell me that this thing had nothing to do with race. Even if the shooter says that, he thinks it had to do with his sex addiction. You can't disconnect this violence from the racial stereotypes that people attach to Asian women. This guy blamed a specific race of people for his problems and then murdered them because of it. If that's not racism, then the word has no meaning. And as if the violence, as if the trauma isn't enough, the part that breaks my brain, and I think so many people get affected by this as well, because it feels like you're crazy when you're watching it, is where you see the police officer come out and almost trying to humanize the shooter more than the people who got shot. He was at the end of his rope. It was a bad day for him. For him? Yo, yesterday was a bad day for him? No, yesterday was a bad day for all the people who lost their lives. It's a bad day for, it's always interesting who police try and find the humanity in. Like, I can guarantee you, if a black person or brown person went on a mass killing spree in a white neighborhood, not a would a police officer go on TV and say, well, he was kind of at the end of his rope and this is what he did. They barely have patience for black protesters who are not killing anybody. And the frustrating thing is that it did not have to happen. It does not have to happen. From the top to the bottom, the politicians who are going to cry now and say, oh, we're so sorry. Yeah, but when it's happening, when politicians are out there saying Kung flu and all of these, what are we doing then? We can all do something to try and fight against this. We can't stop every evil person. Please, I'm not saying that. No, someone's going to be like, oh, there's always going to be evil. Yeah, but you know what we can try and do is create an environment where we're not letting specific people be targeted because of the color of their skin.
So the last thing I want to talk about is Gabbie Hanna, because she and her consistently intelligent big-ass mouth decided to tweet out, what happened to Britney Spears was 2007's version of cancel culture. Think about that the next time you hop on a hate train. Awkwardly, Millennial responded to that saying, nobody cancelled Britney because she said something offensive. She was harassed because, as a female celebrity, the public thought they owned her and deserved access to every inch of her body and thought in her head. It was, quite frankly, the opposite of cancel culture. We literally wouldn't leave the poor woman alone or let her have a moment to herself. No one was asking her to go away. We were demanding more and more and more access to her. I'm shocked MTV didn't debut a toilet cam. Alex said, except Britney didn't even do anything. She didn't offend anyone or hurt anyone. She dressed how she wanted, partied, and was probably dealing with depression and didn't have one person to trust who would help her. Very shortly after this, Daniel Prater tweeted out saying, Some Twitter accounts should keep it entirely in the drafts. The delusion is real. And Gabbie, instead of just realizing that she's literally so stupid, decided to tweet out again saying, "It's the way they attacked her for all of her human mistakes and choices. In case y'all forgot, they were saying she was a terrible mother and a terrible role model. They tried to cancel her as a pop star and mother because they didn't like her life choices, then proceeded to bully her for years. You being a shitty, annoying, Vine-turned YouTuber, so the same breed as Jake Paul and Lele Pons, and having minimal, if not no talent whatsoever, who refused to take accountability for anything and then came back to YouTube and continued to avoid taking accountability by blaming everything on your mental health and trying to claim that it was difficult for your dumbass to differentiate between things that you should address and things that you shouldn't, is not the same as an innocent woman who got stalked, harassed, and bullied by real-life paparazzi that she genuinely couldn't escape and who refused to let her be alone with her child. You are not on the same level as Britney Spears. You are on the same level as Jake Paul and Lele Pons. Please get that into your head. Just because you have somehow deluded yourself into thinking that you haven't done anything wrong throughout all this time does not mean that you are correct. And it does not mean that you can compare yourself to this poor woman who was forced into a conservatorship and now has no control over anything in her life. The absolute disrespect. Check yourself. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, if you liked me, make sure to like and subscribe. If you didn't like me, make sure to get in contact with my teachers because I bet you have a lot in common, and make sure to stay safe and stay hydrated. I literally forgot to edit and upload like the video that was essentially just the first half of this video. How did I get to that point? I'm not really quite sure, but it did happen and I was really upset about it. It was on like Wednesday and I was like doing something and then I was reminded of like the fact that I also have a YouTube channel, and I went on my own YouTube channel. I was like, fuck, I haven't uploaded, and then I got really upset and I had a panic attack. So love that for me, but the video is going to be up now, so